There are a number of drugs that are dispensed for flock-wide treatment through the water source, some dewormers, insecticides and antibiotics for example. And for birds in the commercial industry in cages or barns where they have a sole water source, that's fine and dandy, it's very easy to do. We add the drug to the correct volume of water and they'll generally drink to their body weight. In our backyard free-ranging flocks, however, it can get really confusing how to do this effectively to make sure everyone gets their full dose. And often it's done incorrectly. So let's break it down step by step. Firstly, you must dose them to their body weight as accurately as possible. Overdosing can obviously be dangerous, but the more pressing issue and the more common issue, however, is underdosing. When we underdose, this leads to the strongest bugs surviving and resistance developing against the drug. When resistance develops, it means that our drugs stop working well and we start running out of options. So let's dose as accurately as possible. You can Google an average weight for your breed, but there's always a fair amount of variation there. So what I'd actually recommend is burritoing a few and weighing them on the kitchen scales. This is where you weigh the towel, wrap the chook gently in the towel covering the head and weigh her, then subtract the difference to get the weight of the bird. This is a good chance to check over everyone and make sure they're all in good weight and in good health while you're at it. Check that keel bone, that's the breastbone that runs between the front legs. Make sure they've got good coverage and is a nice soft triangle down either side. Once we've got the total weight of the whole flock estimated as closely as possible, we need to calculate the amount of drug to add to the water. This dose rate will come from the medication itself and will be in the form of a certain volume of drug per kg of body weight. So you're going to take the total flock weight and multiply that by the dose rate. The third thing to work out is how much water to add to it. For this, I recommend using 300 ml per adult chicken. And we're going to give them 8 hours to drink that. So the way you want to do this is you restrict them to somewhere that doesn't have other sources of water. We need to make sure they're drinking only the medicated water. That includes no access to watery vegetables or mash. They're only allowed dry pellets while they're locked away. You want to lock them up for a couple of hours before sunset and hold back their water for those 2 hours before they go to sleep. We want them to be thirsty for a drink when the sun comes up the next morning. Now you give them their water back in the morning, and as a general rule, we go with 300 ml of water per standard 2 kg chook if they're to be locked up for 8 hours. After 8 hours, or as soon as they've drunken all of the medicated water, you can let them out or give them a fresh supply of water. Now, there are a couple of downfalls with this method that you should be aware of. You don't want to do this on a particularly cold day when they're less likely to drink the water on offer. You also don't want to rely on this method for anyone who is already unwell. In this case, a chook may have already stopped eating and drinking her normal amount, and she's not going to receive her correct dose. Some birds will even just avoid drinking it because it tastes a bit funny with the medication. Hot tip here, a dash of cranberry juice can help to hide the taste there and make it a bit more palatable for them. The alternative, of course, is to treat each bird individually to their exact body weight. This involves drawing up their small dose, diluting it with water and syringing it into the beak. Check out our video on how to dose oral medication to learn how to do that safely.